Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday. Hope you're well. Today, I want to talk about optimizing your website and why you should make it a priority in your marketing efforts. It's something that often gets neglected in our business. And there's many, many reasons why people tend to neglect their website a little bit, or a lot even. Often it's because of tech overwhelm. I think that's a big thing that I see, where people haven't spent a little bit of time learning about their website and learning about how it can help them in their business. And even just the thought of getting started with that feels really overwhelming. This is something I do with clients, where I actually help them. We work together and I help them and hold their hand along the way, basically, and help them to understand how it doesn't have to be so difficult. Understanding your website platform doesn't have to be so difficult. Making changes yourself or somebody in your team making those changes for you doesn't have to be something that is a real struggle. And even sometimes just spending a little bit of time learning the basics about how your website builder works and having somebody there to help you along the way in terms of understanding what to put on your website can make a real difference. Got a really croaky voice this morning. I was at an event yesterday, which was really good. It was an event at Cranfield University, an entrepreneur event, and it was a really good workshop day. I really, really enjoyed it. Made some great connections and met some wonderful people. But anyway, that's why I've got a croaky voice this morning, because it was a lot of, I was say well, it's a lot of talking. It was a bit of talking. It was mostly listening, but yeah, it was really good anyway. So I digress. So that's often what happens. People either get the tech overwhelm or they just don't realize that it should be a priority. There's this myth that social media is the only way to promote our business. And if we're not doing everything that we can do on social media, then everything else just isn't worth the effort, really. Whereas actually, I like to flip that on its head. And it's my firm belief that we should focus on our own content and the content that we own first and foremost. I talked about this way back in a really early episode of the podcast, episode 2, about why you don't need to keep feeding the algorithm and how you can use your existing content to show up in search anyway, and show up in search first. But I think there is this feeling that, if I'm doing social media, that's it. That's my marketing box ticked. And actually, your website is more part of your overall business structure. I believe it should be the central place. It should be your central hub for your digital presence. So wherever else you're promoting your business, any other marketing that you're doing leads back to your website. And that is the place that builds your authority online. And the reason I feel this is so important is because your website is the thing that you own. It's the thing that no algorithm can take away. That and relationships. I also talk about this a lot, about the fact that relationships are really important. And again, that's something else that no algorithm can take away. But by focusing first and foremost on the content that you own, so your website, your podcast episodes, your podcast player platform, like I use Buzzsprout, if that goes, I can take all of those episodes and put them somewhere else. So it is content that I own. But everything comes back to my website, because that is truly something that I fully own. So if you had a physical location, if you were opening a physical business, you wouldn't open the store and then never do anything again to maintain it. You wouldn't never ever paint the signs again, or clean the windows, or sweep the floor, or move the displays around to see what works better and what's working, what isn't working, what isn't working, or what doesn't work. You wouldn't do that with a physical location. And I think we tend to forget about our website. Is actually, that is our online store. So it's the place where people can go and either find out more about us. Ideally, we need to have it doing something, some kind of call to action. If your website doesn't have a call to action, there's not anything that you want people to do, whether it is joining your email list, making a purchase, finding out where you are, like booking an appointment, or driving people into your store, then that's definitely a priority to think about that. I think about, what do you want your website to do? It shouldn't just be a digital brochure. It should be a place that you can connect with your customers. You can actually get them into your world and get them to take the action that you want them to. And as I say, if you'd opened a physical store, you wouldn't then neglect that. You wouldn't open the store and then never, ever think about what kind of journey and what kind of experience people have when they come through your store. So that's why I feel like it's so important. It's literally, it is your online presence. It can be the hub of your online presence. And the benefit of having that is that can then be working in the background. It can be working while you're off doing the things that you love doing, whether that's in your business or outside your business when you're not working. It can be out there showcasing your business, attracting clients, getting people to book your services or buy your products or book appointments or join your email list where you can then keep nurturing them and selling to them there. And just also building trust as well. So it's a real representation of your business online, and building that trust with those potential customers is so, so important, really. If you're an e-commerce business and you're selling stuff, regardless of whether e-commerce is your primary business or you're doing treatments in a salon or a spa, or you've got a physical location, but people can also buy online, then that is literally the place where you can take money. So it's where you can educate people around your products, get them to take that action of actually buying from you. And those sales can be happening in the background and engaging your customers in the background while you're actually off doing something else, which is literally the place where you can take money. In the last episode of the podcast, I talked about what I wish I'd known when I was back in the salon about websites. And there's so much potential there that a lot of people just don't even realize, hey, this could make a big difference in my business, really. When you're thinking about where to start with this, I would recommend checking out episode 35 of the podcast. I've got loads of, this episode feels like there's loads of other episodes I can link to, because it all ties back into that subject of your website is your most important place online. But episode 35, I talk about the pathway to website success. And this focuses on all the foundational elements that you need to have in place to have a successful website. So the pathway to website success is definitely a process. It's something that takes time, and it's something that I like to break down into bite-sized pieces. And it's the step-by-step pieces, basically, of how you can make your website successful. So check out that episode. That was episode 35. But what I would say is there's sort of 4 main areas to focus on your website. So firstly, optimizing for search. This is a big passion of mine, regardless of where people are searching, because search is changing, regardless of whether they are searching on Google, which people still are. We need to not neglect Google. Google hasn't gone away and isn't going away overnight. And the things that we do to optimize our website for Google will make a difference in all of the other places that people are searching as well. So if you're trying to show up in AI searches, if you want to show up in searches on ChatGPT when people are looking for what you do, or Google Gemini or Perplexity or all of the other places that people could be searching, if you haven't optimized your website for the basics that Google looks for, then you're unlikely to be those results that are showing up in AI searches. So getting the foundations in place, like making sure your site is easy to navigate by robots and by people, making sure the information is clear and structured, and the back end of your website is structured in a way that makes it clear what you do, what page you should be showing up for the particular search term you're thinking about, and that you are talking about those relevant topics that are important for your business. And I think that's often something that does get neglected, is where people will create amazing content for social media and then not talk about those topics, the important things that they do and the problems that they solve in a business. They then forget to talk about that on the website. And we kind of almost assume that we've done that, like that, maybe we put a website together and then forget about it, or aren't doing too much, or we're creating blog posts that we think are really niche and that might then be able to get people to find us online. But we forget about those core things, those core topics that we need to talk about as well, really. The second thing is optimizing for usability. So making sure that your site is very easy to navigate and it provides a good user experience, or a great user experience, really. So making sure that we're not making people have to burn mental calories to work out how to do business with you. This is something that's a really foundational thing, but it's something I see often and see time and time again with clients if I'm doing website audits, where it's just not quite clear to me, without thinking too much about what you actually do and how you're going to make my life better, what problems you're going to solve for me. And also the third point would be optimizing for call to action. So making sure what you're doing is actually encouraging people to take the action that you want them to take, and to really not make it difficult for them, not make them have to think twice about what they've got to do, or not giving them too many options. And you might be thinking about your website and thinking, okay, I want them to book an appointment with me. I want them to buy a product. I want them to join my email list. I want them to read my other blogs, all of these different things that you want them to do on one page of your website. And if you've got all of those things to do, then people aren't then sure what action you want them to take. So we talk about transactional call to actions and transitional call to actions. And a transactional call to action would be if it's on a product page to buy a product, buy it now. That would be a transactional call to action. If it was buying an online course or something like that, then that's a transactional call to action. A transitional call to action might be something where people would maybe join your email list, or they would fill in a contact form or something like that, where they need to find out more information. So it's something that's not going to lead directly to a purchase, but it will help them to get a little bit further along that user journey and understand a bit more about what you do. If somebody's not quite ready to take that step and buy from you, then adding something in like book a call to find out more, or join my email list to get more tips, or something like that, where you'd want sort of the maximum of 2, really. So we've got optimizing the search, optimizing for usability, optimizing for calls to action. And then the fourth is organizing your content. So this helps to make sure that all of your efforts, wherever you're creating content online, all leads back to that hub of a well-organized and informative website. And I talked about this in episode 57 about why your website should be the foundation of your content plan. So if you are thinking about planning content, and whether that's creating content which is blog posts or email newsletters, or creating content for social media, actually taking some time and thinking about how your website fits into that, and having your website as the starting point of that. So think about the topics that you need to talk about. Think about, have I actually talked about that on my website? Which page of my website is the most relevant to this topic? And have I talked about it? Have I optimized that page with the page titles, descriptions, throughout the body content of that page, throughout your image, alt text, all the different places in the page that you can optimize for search? Make sure that is actually tied in, and everything then ties back to your website. Also, if you're creating content for social media or any different places, that you're then creating links that come back to your website, and it all just helps to drive that traffic back to your website. So check out that one. That was for episode 57 about why your website should be the foundation of your content plan. And all of this, everything you're doing with it, where you're creating content around your website, is all about making you the authority on the topic that you talk about. So it helps Google and helps users to understand why you know what you're talking about, why you should be a trusted guide, and why you should be the person that Google understands your website is the place to send people to learn more about that topic, or to find the thing that is solving their problem, find the thing that can help them with their problem, basically. So I would love you to take a few moments this week and just review your website, and just think a bit about whether it's optimized for search, for usability, for calls to action, and how your content is all coming together in your website as the hub of your online business. And if you need any help getting started with this, then visit my website and you can book a free discovery call, so we can have a chat about how I could help you with one-to-one advice, audits, and power hours, anything that can just help you to get started on that next step of understanding how to make your website better and how to get more traffic and sales through it, really. You can also check out episode 51, which is all about AI for websites and how you can use AI to make it more simple, to save you time in your business, to save you time working out how to make your website better. And so check that episode out as well. So I hope you have a lovely weekend. I hope you found this helpful. There's a storm coming. It looks beautiful out there today, and it seems like suddenly the wind has dropped and it's got really calm. But there is a storm coming, apparently. So I'm hoping I'm going to be able to swim tomorrow, but we'll see. Last weekend, I swam at my coldest ever. It was 3.9 degrees, and I've never swam below 4 degrees before. So that was it. I mean, it doesn't actually feel that much difference between 4 degrees and 7 degrees, but it was certainly cold, and I wanted to cry when I got in the water, but I felt so amazing afterwards, and I was so glad I did. So have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you soon. Bye.